My goal, my dream is for one day an MMO to come out that's so good that I will literally play it for the end of my life.
So if you're a gamer, you probably thought at some point that streaming seems like the dream. I mean, you get paid to play games, what's not to love? But if you've been paying attention to this space, you've also seen the other side. Streamers burning out, taking breaks, quitting the games that built their careers entirely. And it happens often enough now that it's worth asking, is streaming actually sustainable? And for most people, I don't think it is. In the last 10 years, streaming has gone fully mainstream, which is oversaturated. There's something like 100,000 people live on the platform at any given moment. And we all know that breaking through as a new creator, a small streamer, is genuinely rare. But the interesting thing isn't what happens to people who don't make it. It's what happens to the people who do. There's two main paths to playing games for a living: content creation or going pro. And if you follow either side, you've seen plenty of burnout, which might be confusing to some. I mean, these people play games all day. Why would that wear you out? And why would you give that up? Of course, burnout shows up in a lot of industries. What's happening in gaming is specific. It points to something structural, a mismatch that's baked into what it actually means to make games into your job, into a full-blown career. Historically, gaming was a hobby. There weren't that many games you could pour hundreds of hours into. Back in the early 2000s, WoW was probably the move if you wanted something endless. But now there's no shortage. Competitive games, RPGs, survival games, Souls-likes, MMOs. The options are basically unlimited. So the games are there, the audience is there, the path obviously exists. The version of gaming that makes good content is not the same version of gaming that's actually sustainable to do every single day indefinitely. Those are two very different activities. Now, you've probably seen the take that streamers ruined gaming. They burn through all the content in a week when it takes the rest of us normies months. Their takes get amplified by communities and occasionally heard and implemented by devs. Games have gotten noticeably sweatier since people started turning them into careers. I mean, obviously, a dad of 3 who just got home from the oil rigs, can't keep up with tens. I mean, I don't think streamers ruin gaming. I think that's a little bit dramatic, but the fact people keep landing on that take is telling. It means the way streamers are playing games is visibly different enough from how normal people play that it registers as a problem. And if you're a streamer, that difference isn't just noticeable to your audience, it's something you're living with every single day, turning video games into your life and your career. So making content about a game is a fundamentally different activity from playing one. When you play a game for yourself, you set the pace, you play when you want, for as long as you want, it's cozy, it's nice, it's fun. You stop when you're done. And the game gets to do what it was designed to do, pull you in for a few hours and, well, maybe sometimes more than a few hours, but it lets you walk away feeling like you got something out of it. You have to get back to real life. But when you turn video games into your livelihood, almost none of that becomes true. You play for hours past the point where it stopped being fun because the stream isn't over, you gotta make money. And you play the game for hundreds or thousands of hours because it's your channel's game, it's your brand. Your audience built expectations around it, and leaving feels like abandoning something you built. Honestly, I don't know how full-time streamers do it unless you have discipline, drive, and creativity, because there's two things pulling against each other constantly. The first pressure is the niche. Most streaming advice and most successful streaming careers we know are built around picking a game and sticking with it. The problem is that you're probably not going to feel the same about that game in 3 years.
If I die tomorrow, what are they going to remember me as?
Oh.
Yeah.
When did you realize you didn't want to be remembered for just Minecraft?
Pretty early on.
That's Nihachu. She built her entire career on Minecraft, and when she stepped away, part of what she said was the game she was known for wasn't the legacy she wanted. The niche worked, and then it didn't. The second pressure is the algorithm and what switching games actually costs you. For most streamers, moving to a new game means starting over. New viewer base, new SEO, new expectations. And if your channel was built on one thing, the algorithm doesn't really know what to do with you anymore. So you have to maintain high enough numbers to sustain your income, which for most creators gets harder every single year. And from what we've seen, staying consistently viable long term is really only achievable for the biggest names. So you're stuck. Burn out on the game that made you, or risk everything by leaving it. And a majority of people lose on at least one of those fronts. There is one model that seems to dodge this trap. Queso plays a different game almost every night. 3 hours of something, then something else. He doesn't really go super deep on anything, and what he does is show up with enough charisma that the game almost doesn't matter. He's the content, and the games are just the set. And it works. He's one of the biggest creators in the world, and he doesn't seem to be running into the wall everyone else is. But notice what the strategy actually is. He's not playing games for a living, he's hosting them. Every game gets 3 hours and then he moves on. The thing that's sustainable for him isn't falling into games, it's treating them as material. And honestly, I don't know if a lot of other people have that personality to replicate that. XQC, he's figured out a version of the same thing. After his Overwatch days, now he does a lot of React content, and he's not forcing himself to sit with a game he's bored of. Both of them adapted by refusing to engage with games the way a normal player would. It's a legitimate winning strategy. The fact that this is the adaptation that works, that long-term survival in this career requires giving up the part where you actually love a game enough to live in it, is the thing we're considering if you want this to be a long-term career.
My goal, my dream, is for one day an MMO to come out that's so good that I will literally play it for the end of my life. I want to play an MMO that's so good that literally I will play it till I die of old age. That is my absolute dream. My absolute dream, dude. Like that's what we're here for. That's literally what we're here for, you know?
Okay, back to the Shroud clip, which is actually really funny, but obviously he's joking. If you look at the comments, they weren't joking. Shroud has everything. He can play whatever he wants. Studios send him keys. He's at the top of this industry, and he's a really, really passionate gamer. Just wants something he can fall into and not have to climb back out of every week to find the next thing. He spent a decade building a content career around games, and now he's reaching for one with enough content to sustain the rest of his life. So the people in the middle are quitting the games that made them because of course you get sick of something after a few years and there's not really any room for growth. The person at the top is dreaming of one that he can just disappear into. Here's where I actually land on this and the point of this video. For most streamers, let's face it, this career is unsustainable in its current form. It's not because you're weak or not because you're not working hard enough, but because the structure of content creation as a career and the structure of games just really work against each other. Yes, burnout is common in a lot of industries. Playing one single game as your career is just not feasible. I mean, there's not room for growth. If you're working in another career, you can work your way up, and there's a lot of room for growth and fulfillment. You know, playing Valorant all day is pretty frustrating, and it's really easy to lose passion for that. Something interesting I found is that the industry actually does seem to be noticing this issue. Riot Games is actively hiring right now for a role on an unannounced game, and the job isn't about launch campaigns or getting creators in for a preview event. It's specifically about building long-term reward systems that keep creators engaged past the initial hype. What I keep coming back to is I just want there to be more options for someone who peaked at 22. I've been following this space for a while now. I like watching esports. I have a lot of favorite streamers that I put on when I'm doing chores or working, and it's kind of sad to think about how in a few years this might not be a viable career path for them, and they spent their youth building something that won't be there for them later. I think the next few years are going to be people figuring it out in real time, and I think the ones who build something that lasts are probably going to be the ones who understood the shape of the problem early. Anyway, that's why I made this video, mostly to think through it for myself, and just my opinion that maybe streaming isn't the dream job we think it is.